allow him to return to the court. Will not play in tonight's game against the Houston Rockets. That's sports.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, or unless MJ's trying to muscle in on us, it is time for Wired Wednesday here.
Well, a little bit. You know, it is Wednesday. We are a little bit wired. I stopped by the local Maverick and got my cup of joe because I was running extremely late today.
Or are you trying to muscle in on us?
No, I'm not that cool. I don't know how to run the board. Like, we've been over this, Tim. I don't, that is intimidating all in and of itself. There's so many buttons. I mean, and I'm a buttons. I like buttons, but that's so many buttons.
There's only one that works.
Fair. Sorry. Good morning. This is McKenna Hansen with Wired Wednesday. In studio today we have Brand Inspector Thane Marshall. And as we're coming up on the spring season, I know it doesn't feel like that, boys. It's a whole 28 degrees outside. And somebody was running in shorts and a tank top. And I'm not talking normal shorts. I'm talking running shorts. And there is a drastic difference. I don't know how people run in these temperatures. Anyways, but we need to make sure the community is aware that we are a livestock area and community. And there's a lot of rules and a lot of things going on in the springtime. How are you, Thane?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So with all of the things going on in town and around town, and maybe I want to take a drive on a dirt road, what could I possibly run into?
Well, this time of year, the sheep herders are moving their sheep. And most of the back roads around here are designated livestock trails. So you may get caught in a sheep convoy. So
Okay.
The best thing to do is if you're going towards the sheep, just kind of slow down, and the sheep, they'll go around your car. If you're going the same way as the sheep, good luck. Because they don't very seldom look behind them and see them. But if if you just give the sheep kind of the right of way and just kind of go slow, the herders that are there with them will usually work them around your car.
Right.
But just be patient, because it's gonna take a minute to get down that road. But guess what? They got the right of way. It's been in our ancestors from way back. And if you see a designated livestock trail and you see sheep on the road, you might want to find an alternate route.
So with that,
The revelation here is that MJ likes to go down dirt roads a lot, apparently.
oh yes, and something that nobody knows about me that everybody knows about me now, because I'm going to say it on the radio, is I wear fuzzy socks all year round.
Cool.
I love fuzzy socks. Fuzzy socks are my jam. I have them on today, in fact.
Show up to everyone.
No, I can't get my leg that high.
The big guy gotta have live cameras in the studio. Let's see the fuzzy socks.
No, I have black and red fuzzy socks.
Okay.
I love fuzzy socks. I also love dirt roads because more times often than not, now it's getting worse with this Verizon and AT&T thing, but we're not going to go into that. But you don't have service on dirt roads. And that means I don't have to pay attention to my phone, and I can be in the moment driving around. My favorite drive that my husband takes me on is out through Lund and over across 9 Mile and back in through Zane and Modena.
I've never done that drive, and I really want to do it sometime. I've never got up the Lund Highway to Lund. I need to do that once.
In the springtime that we're coming up on now, and things are going to start kind of greening up a little bit with these, Indian summers, it's just beautiful. Right now going through the gorge, the sun pockets are coming up with the cheatgrass, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful time of year right now.
Okay, I want to show you something. I have a feature on my phone. Maybe it's missing on yours.
Oh, yes?
It's called the off button.
Ah, yes.
And I find it's pretty effective.
It is, but it's so much easier to be out of service and really because...
Oh, that's the convenient excuse. Oh, I'm sorry, I was out of service.
Right, exactly, because, and a lot of my clientele, a lot of my friends and a lot of my family love still being out of service. So you can really get connected with the relationship part of business. And I mean, yes, I am an insurance agent. I specialize in agriculture and commercial insurance. It's complicated. Producers want to know that they're taken care of. I'm willing to take care of them, right? 9 times out of 10, they're on a dirt road. And I love that aspect of my business. And going across dirt roads and finding sheep and or cows, which are more stubborn than sheep, is just a part of the business. And I've been caught going, I think I've been going north on Lund, and the sheep have also been going north on Lund. And 9 times out of 10, the producers see you, and they try to work the sheep to one side or the other, or maybe over into, the side ditch, so that you can get by. You know, give them time. Your day is going to be put back a whole 10 minutes. A whole 10 minutes. And it's not the end of the world.
You know, and that's what people don't understand is you'll get through. Us producers we're out there to protect our animals, but we're out there to try to make your day better too. So if we have a cow on the road or we have sheep on the road, just leave it there. You can call me or call the sheriff department. The sheriff department will get a hold of me. I can usually tell whose cow they are by where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and they wear a brand, so if you can get the brand to call the sheriff's department, that'd be great, and we'll take care of them. You know, if you see a little baby lamb or a baby calf laying on the side of the road, please don't stop and pick it up. Mama
Right.
left it there; it's not abandoned. And the same goes with the guard dogs and the working cow dogs. You know, the big Great Pyrenees are the
Big white,
thing.
beautiful
You know,
dogs.
the big white beautiful dogs, and everybody sees them by the road and they're afraid they're going to get run over. They're out there keeping the sheep from being on the road. They're protecting the sheep against coyotes. They're leading the sheep. You know, I think sheep must be blind because I think they'll follow that dog because it's white, and you know, and sheep do follow. I mean, that's been evident since the Bible. That's why people are compared to sheep, is because we follow, and the sheep will. One jumps off the cliff. I think the rest of them will too.
Well, and then we go into a totally different theology of, are there guard dogs in our life or are there wolves in our life? And some people mask as wolves or as guard dogs when they're truly wolves. Anyways, we won't go down that road today, but
I will.
with the
You know I will.
So, but I mean, it's springtime. We're gonna go into calving and lambing season. And another thing, guys, is these animals are, yes, they're in the valley for a short period. They're gonna be back on the mountain and back in range by May and June, depending on the snowpack and, you know, roads being open. But they are also not target practice.
No.
And I have heard about dogs being lost. I've heard about cows, you know, being shot. I've been getting phone calls of, hey, Kenan, do we have insurance for this? Or what happens in this type of a scenario with the insurance, you know? And there's specific coverages for the mortality of the animal. But what I'm really hearing is there's these kids that haven't been taught better to not shoot livestock and dogs. You know, there's a difference between shooting a dog that's getting into livestock and a dog that is protecting the livestock. And the producers who have the livestock know the difference. You know, and if anybody questions that, go and find a local producer and ask them the difference, because it's incredible. One mother cow is tied to how much income, do you think, Thane?
Well, by the time, you know, I had a heifer that I just sold yesterday that was just weaned, and you know, got $500 or $700 out of her, and she was 500 pounds. So, and she was born in late July. So that tells you, I mean, each cow probably produces $1,000 worth of offspring. But the thing of it is, the legislature passed a law a couple of years ago that if you get convicted of shooting a cow, you have to pay for her offspring for 10 years.
For 10 years,
10
it's 10 years
of
now.
offspring.
That's good.
So if you shoot a cow that's 10 years old, man, that's great, because you know that producer is going to get 10 more years out of that cow, because you're going to end up paying probably about $1,000, you know, each calf. So that's $10,000 that you're going to get charged for shooting that cow.
Right, and I would say on the cautionary side, if you are playing target practice with these livestock, you're taking money out of the livelihoods that infuse this area's economy.
Yeah.
And it's devastating to them when they are going out to check their livestock and there's just shot dead for no principle at all. There's shot dead livestock. So please be aware of that. If you see any of it, please report it to the local sheriff's department and or Thane himself, because it's illegal for one, and two, you're making ripple effects well beyond your control.
And even not shooting them dead, we had a case last summer that a producer here, he lives in Parowan, he bought a bunch of British white cattle. And these are white cows, and they got black noses and black tip ears. In fact, I bought my wife one for Christmas a couple of years ago, because she loves them. And anyway, these young kids were going up and blunting them. and with a bow and arrow, have a blunt tip on their bow and arrow. You shoot a black cow, you don't see the bruise. Well, they shot these white cows, and I mean, this bruise was the size of bigger than a silver dollar on this cow, and it looked like it was bleeding down, you know. So,
Oh my God.
you know, you don't see the effect on a black cow because you don't see that bruising, but you know, you shoot them with a blunt object, you leave a.
And this leads me back to why kids need to be in school, be in collegiate activities. Not that we're going to talk about all the drama going on with the collegiate activities right now, but kids need to stay active. If they want to work on a farm, if they want to work with a producer, go and talk to them. They're not as scary as they appear. Well, at least for me, they're not. I can go up and talk to most anybody and get a smile. Although there is one individual, and he knows he's out there, that I cannot get to smile for the life of me. So, you know, there are those challenges out there.
It seems just incredulous to me that I mean, with all the wildlife that we have in the area and the hunts that people can go on,
That they're targeting innocent livestock?
That they're targeting these animals that are domesticated to some degree and are being used for that. I mean, there's enough coyotes and wolves around here, and I don't want to misstate anything, but I know the DWR will. There are some animals that go kill a jackrabbit. I mean, that's.
Oh man, there are so many. The only small game that we can't kill yearly, like throughout the entire year, is I believe cottontail, because there's an actual season for those.
Yeah,
but jackrabbits, you can trap and or shoot coyotes year round.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with red foxes. I think the gray fox is protected, or
Can't remember.
one of the two.
I'm not sure. I'm a cattle producer,
No.
so there's nothing that's protected
Right.
when they're around my cattle.
You know, the cougar that came through town, that was out to Iron Springs, a local outfitting company was hired to go and get that driven out of town and or, finalized, I guess. But
Killed.
yes,
I'll say
killed. But because it was found on private property, the private property owners didn't allow them to finish the job, but they were able to get it out of town, more or less within that week. So there's a lot of things going around livestock. I mean, being a cattle producer, what are your main concerns, coming up?
My main concern is there's a lot of people that have gone to the ATV activities. So if you come up on a gate and it's closed, it's okay to open it and go through it, but put it back up. Leave it the way you found it. And if you can't, some of us producers put these gates pretty tight to kind of deter people from going through them.
Yeah, I can't ever get some of the wire gates down.
Some of them takes a couple of people, but if you're out on an ATV, you're usually with more than one person. So if you find a gate that's up, please put it back up.
And
It's
vice
just
versa, if it's open.
If it's open, leave it open, because, and it's not only for the cattle producers, but it's for the wild horses. It's for the, don't think you're blocking a cow away from the water. You're blocking a wild Mustang away from the water too. And they're open for a reason, and they're closed for a reason. And sometimes people will leave a gate open, and the cows will get out on the highway, and you're putting lives at risk if you leave a gate open that is bordering a highway, and somebody just decides, oh, I'm just not gonna shut that, or I'll come back. And then, during hunting season, it's really bad, because
I can imagine.
hunters don't like this. They're in a hurry. They're mad that it's up in the first place. I mean, we border the highway, our range borders the highway, and 3/4 of the hunts that I go on, I'm checking gates to make sure they're up. So the producer that's hunting deer doesn't get to hunt because he's going around following the rest of the hunters to put the gates back up.
Oh man. And it's really selfish in that moment.
Yeah.
And I want to say that there's a thing, too, of the timeliness of things. If the gate's up, just either don't go in there if you don't want to put it back up, or maybe that door's closed for a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd find your 200-inch whatever thing you need to, or a 400-inch whatever thing. I do know the technical terms, guys, out there. I have hunted with my husband. But
Yes, I know the technical term is that 200-inch thing.
yes, the 200-inch thing. You know, but be courteous out there. And I think that's really the point of this today, is making sure that we are being aware of the situations around us. We are a livestock community. The sheep and the cows are being moved right now. Some of the, you know, we're going to go into lambing season and shearing season here in the next, 45 to 60 days. Calving season's coming up sooner than that. It just really depends, but be aware of your area. You know, if you need to get to London, get to 6,000 North, maybe go off through the airport and take, 2300 North, and then jog over, or if you need to go get into even Walmart, the designated livestock trail comes off the face at the Walmart intersection and goes right through and down Cross Hollow, it is Cross Hollow Road that continues down, right? One of those. Anyways, that's all designated livestock, and be aware, and it's going to take a whole 10 minutes out of your day.
But make sure you're patient with both the sheep and the producers, because those producers that are moving those sheep and moving those cattle will do everything they can do to get those sheep, get you by them.
Walmart must be very confusing.
What's that?
Walmart must be very confusing.
It must be,
because I can't tell the difference between the sheep or the people going into the store.
Oh, that's a whole nother show, Tim. Going back into sheep or livestock and livestock or sheep.
Yeah.
Or people or livestock.
Like I said, us producers are out there, we're out there to protect our animals. But we're out there, we don't want you mad at our animals, because that's the worst thing we can have, is people driving down the roads and being mad at your animals, because, people do dumb stuff when they're mad. And
so
it's just, I'm going to get back at this guy to do this to his animals. Well, go confront the guy. Don't take it out on his animals, dogs or sheep or cattle or horses or whatever. But it's, just be courteous, because us as producers are as courteous as we can be. And, when our cows are out on the road, we don't want you to hit them any more than you want to hit them. And it's kind of a scary deal on open range, because you're liable. You hit that cow on an open range, and your insurance company is going to pay that producer for that cow.
Yes, and it is required by law in the state of Utah that they pay that. Even if the insurance company doesn't know that they are required to pay it, we've had to go back east to like some of the larger companies and be like, well, per state of Utah rules of open range, you're liable. This is, and they have to pay actual cash value for that animal. And that can be fairly expensive as you get into the higher crossbreeds and or pure breeds, and especially if you hit a bull, and the production of that bull and what that's capable of.
That sounds a little gender biased.
Oh, it totally is.
Well, think about
this. But women, not women, heifers, and mother cows, they produce, 7 to 10 years, depending. Mm-hmm. And you get a $600 to $900 calf, depending on the year, depending on the weight, every year.
Right.
And now the state of Utah says you're required to pay for 10 years. That's more sizable than a bull. A young bull, I think we had one that was hit on an open range over in Kane County last spring. He was only 2 or 3 years old, and I believe his worth was around $4,500.
Yeah, well, see, I paid $6,000 for a year on last year.
Right.
So
the production, the quality.
Yeah, and you get caught shooting a bull, he's going to service 20-25 cows a year.
That's a lot.
I love that term.
A lot of babies.
He's gonna service. Oh, I love that term. Yeah, okay.
When you're talking with producers, it's all the birds and the bees.
Yeah,
it's all about the birds and the bees.
I'm sure the bull is out there going, let me service you here.
Oh my goodness. Thane, as we wrap up Wired Wednesday, how do we get a hold of you, and what are some final thoughts?
You could go on the website, not necessarily me, but any county that you're in, there's a brand inspector someplace in that county. And you can go on the Utah, I think it's brands.utah.gov,
okay.
And you can get a whole list of the brand inspector's phone numbers on there.
Okay.
And we have two investigators throughout the state. We have one in the north, one in the south. And we actually go out and investigate anything that you call us. We will, anything to do with animals and livestock, we'll be there. And anytime a sheep or a cow or a horse changes ownership, call a brand inspector and get a brand inspection.
Do they actually have to change the brand on the animal when that happens?
Not yeah. You're supposed to. Supposed to. You have 30 days to rebrand a cow after you buy it. A horse, not necessarily.
How do you get a brand off, or do you just?
You don't.
I was gonna say you don't.
There's two different ways of branding. You can either hot brand or freeze brand. The freeze brand is you take liquid nitrogen and you freeze your iron and you stick it on there and it kind of freezes the animal. They really don't fill it, but it turns the hair pigmentation to white, about the color of mine. But the rest of the horse is a different color. So you can see that brand that sticks out. Hot brand just kills the hair around that spot.
Yeah, either way, I'm not liking that idea.
And I would say you're more a salt and pepper guy, not just, straight white. Thank you so much for joining us for Wired Wednesday. Sorry to cut you off
No
there.
problem.
We are running short on time. This is McKenna Hansen with Wired Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. I specialize with farm and commercial insurance. My number is 435-592-2021. Thanks for joining us.
By the way, young lady,
Yes.
where did you get my address? I love getting letters from you, and I got a nice card in the mail from you yesterday.
I try to do cards every once in a while. Sometimes I can't find people's, mailing addresses, but I'm really good at what I do, is all I'm going to say.
She's snoopy at what she's saying. All right, MJ, you have a fine day.
Thank you.
It's Wired Wednesday for today.